Hey there, Alex and Caitlin today. We're going over our weekly recap from our back attack week at Alpha. The whole week we spent not just maintaining back, but going ahead and attacking from there with a hefty emphasis on chokes. So rather than just show one technique today, what we're going to do is work through a short chain of techniques, all of them related, all of them the same thing. And this is one of those beautiful things about Jiu-Jitsu to me, is you learn one specific set of motions and then we apply it across a wide array of positions and a wide array of transitions. It really expands our capabilities in the art to just take one thing and do a lot of things with it. All the way back to Miyamoto Musashi, right? From one thing, learn many in the book Fire, the Fire Scroll. As pertinent today as it was then, and just as pertinent as Jiu-Jitsu as it was to swordsmanship. So, let's take a look at the tactic we're talking about. We're going to look first at this fundamental basic wing choke. So from here, I have my back mount. My hooks are in, my feet are very active. I have my arm underneath, that's kind of the support hand. I have my hand over the top, that's going to be my attacking hand. From here, as I get my posture close, I'm gripping her gi, opposite my attack hand, and I'm opening it up. I don't like to reach around and try and fiddle this in and grip just this material. I like to build a good handhold. So as I come in underneath, I use my thumb at the back of the lapel, I use my fingers to roll this open. And you can see how this makes a little grip for my fingers. As it comes around, you notice I push it up. I don't pull it straight down. This is still really hard to get this. I can't get tight around the neck. If I take this lapel and drive it up, this hand can come over and we can see how my hand has a little spot to fit right there, and now I get to grip this really tight. So I've established my first grip. The next step in this wing choke is I take my thumb, I'm going to slide down, I'm going to attack this elbow. From here, I lift towards my head. I don't like to attack directly under the armpit because she's very strong here. Her lat muscles can engage here. And this is really hard for me to get out. If I attack to the elbow and open this and drive up, now I'm engaging the rotator cuff, much smaller muscle group, and I can really attack and I have a much better chance of moving her arm. From here, my hand comes up almost to my head. This is how high I take this, almost to where I'm coming up to my forehead with my hand, and now it's chopping down behind the neck. And I'm supporting this and I'm pushing her head forward into my attacking arm. And you'll notice my wrist is on this carotid artery, and as I expand my back and my arm, my forearm will be across her other carotid artery. So I drop in, get this nice and tight, shove this forward, and now I'm thinking about scissoring my hands. This hand's driving forward, this hand's going straight, and I get my submission. If I want to make this a little tighter, step, just like I would on a bow and arrow choke, and expand at the angle, and makes it a little tighter. So, basic variation, step one in learning this attack sequence. So, once I start to get here, I start feeding, one of the very common movements is for people to drop and attack this weak side, to try and get out. She can't get out this way, I have a bicep in the way, I have my forearm in front, I have my chest and back. The only possible exit she has to this is right here, where there's nothing in the way. So quite often what we'll see people do is drive to the side to take me to this weak side where it's harder for me to choke. I like to get her back on the other side, especially when I already have this grip set. So from here, I'm using my top foot, I'm going to step to her hip, and I'm going to put my heel right up in her hip. I'm going to use this bottom foot to just check across to make sure she's not coming out. I don't want to let this foot get beat and have her slide out over the top. This is a different mess. So this foot kind of comes up to hold her in. From here, I'm pushing with this foot. I'm using this hamstring, this glute, to start this motion. And we can see how I'm already turning her hips. Now I'm going to use this pull to change her upper body, and we're going to roll all the way over right to the other side. Now I've got her back on my strong side, and I'm in a good position to attack. Notice where my arm kind of goes naturally during this roll. So as I come over, I'm pushing, I'm pulling, and I'm taking my thumb, and I'm already attacking this arm. And look, as she comes over, she's already extended. My hand can drop down very easily. Now, once I chop, I get to push, I get to scissor my hands, and I get to expand my chest and my extensor column in my back, and I get the submission from the strong side. So again, taking the basic fundamental choke to a more movement-oriented choke based on what she's likely to do. Now, the last kind of attack we want to go through here, you'll see less often, but it's a very viable alternative, and it really builds on some of the specific things that make Jiu-Jitsu Jiu-Jitsu. being the gi and the lapels. So from here, Ron, if you're watching this, you'll appreciate this. This is right up your alley. My good friend Ron Bristow from Ohana makes lots and lots of attacks like this. So from here, I have my grip. I'm trying to get this feeder arm across to grab or feed, and she's just locking this down, and I'm having no luck here. So I'm going to bring this hand out. I'm going to post it, and I'm going to immediately make this switch. My foot on the grip side steps out, my foot on the inside steps over. So now I'm kind of cutting this angle to the offset. From here, I'm going to take the time. I've got good control. I'm going to go ahead and clear my gi. And quite frankly, if we're in a live rolling situation, this thing's probably already out trailing anyway. So from here, I take my gi tail. I'm going to go right over the top of my hand, and I'm going to transfer my grip from her lapel, you can see right here on the dark colored gi, right over to the light gi, right here to my lapel. And I'm going to let this drag out until I'm actually putting this gi right around the carotid artery. From here, I'm going to come back underneath, because almost universally, as soon as this passes, people are going to start bringing their hands up. And as their hands come up, their elbows flare. So as that elbow flares, I'm going to take advantage. Same technique, same movement, except from here, now I have this rope around her neck, and I'm going to scissor, expand, and get my submission. If I would like to make this tighter, as I go back, I take my outside leg, last variation, step over, and now I truly isolate her position, and now I scissor my arms, expand my extensor column, and I get my submission. And I can go ahead and do the rest of my transitions. So, Alex and Caitlin working through that entire wing choke series. Lots of different stuff you can do from here. And the more variability you build into your attacks, the more likely to be successful. If this guy knows I have one attack, one choke, and he's just going to defend that, it's very easy to do. Mike Budnick was fantastic about teaching that and burning that principle into us. It's easy to defend that. But if I take one choke, and now I use it during his escape effort to the weak side, during his stacking efforts, during my rolling transition, when he defends it, I pass my lapel and I'm using the same choke. I have to learn a minimal amount of movements, but I get a maximum amount of offense out of it. So, really good sequence. Hope you liked it. Check out the rest of our content, share it, subscribe it, and check back in next week and we'll be going over what we do then. We'll see you.